So I'm going to be talking about a design proposal for a cafe and a residential on the second level. So this is the schematic drawing that I have so far. When I say so far, this is still in the process of refinement. So we have the ground floor plan. So this is a plan on site. But before all of this, before having this proposal, I had to go through the basic process of analyzing the site. So analyzing the site means I have to know certain things, parameters of the site before I go into designing. This helps me into shaping up the design of the building. So basic stuff like the wind paths, like where the monsoon winds are, which are the strongest in the region of the Philippines. First, these are the prevailing winds that most of the time are passing through this area. The sun paths, okay, so in December it's more to the south, and then so in June, however, it's more of this direction, so it's more towards the northern part in the morning, and then more northern to the east in the afternoon. In the noontime, it's more direct. And then of course things like noise, and you have your pedestrian traffic, the lot size itself, the conditions, what are existing on site. For example, these three trees which are existing, and one is the largest one. And then we have areas that have like certain areas that have stores and the like. And also I took a look at the terrain where the drainage is going. So this is very favorable for us. Water is going to drain straight to the roadside. So when you get this, okay, some basic analysis of your site, you would then go into the certain aspects of your site, and you will have to do some initial studies on how to address certain things like the wind, for example. So these are thoughts of how the shaping of the form of the building is going to mitigate the wind speeds, or how should it react. So these are initial design responses, ideas. So you could just sketch it out like something like one way of reducing the wind would be having something in front of the wind to reduce the speed before it gets to the house. Like for example, natural things like trees or a man-made structure that reduces the speed. And also the form could help a lot. And things like shutter windows, if the winds are too high, they could help mitigate and reducing the wind speeds. And then as a response to the sun, things like deeper eaves on the side where the sun is most, things like this. So in basic diagrams, I expressed it like so. So I would need to have deeper eaves along this side. And things like a tree again could help out in shading. And then I would like to also use the sunlight in terms of natural lighting inside the house. So this is all before planning or making the floor plans. So stuff like if the rain is much, okay, so the area has an annual rainfall of about 1 meter plus for the year, and but during stormy weather, during the rainy seasons, it might be a lot more. So in order to mitigate that, I would have to have my structure higher than the natural ground line. What should I do with the excess water? Ideas like I could use it as a secondary water supply for, say, planting, or non-potable water for flushing the toilet, and how to collect that. And then further things like how the shape of the roofing could also help out in mitigating the water. How is it going to be managed with simple shapes like this, for example? So forms of the roofs, like the convex type of roofing would do like this, or if it's going to be curved like this, how would it behave? So this is more like it pushes the rain water more towards away from the structure itself. And then I took a look also at how rain is managed in Ifugao houses, like a steeper roof would actually help out, or even with the natural Kulgan grass type of material would also help out in mitigating the heat. Thinking about the drainage, how the water should go, this is the ideal area for collecting the rainwater. Okay, so other things like trees are also important for shading and for visual responses, for example, in helping blocking out some ugly views if you need to. So I kind of decided to just like keep the tree in the middle. And how would I do that? So these are some diagrams, initial diagrams, and how that's going to help out. For example, I still wanted something to protect like the inside of the building if ever there's an opening there. But at the same time, I wanted the tree to sort of like still be alive inside the structure. I'm still looking at this and how this is going to play a part in the design. So initial ideas of also parking were just ideal. So this is a corner lot and I don't want parking to be here because it's going to be causing traffic or if there's a likelihood for accidents. So that's a big no-no there. And so instead, right roughly here would be an ideal, like a few meters away, 5 meters or more from the corner of the lot. Other things like initial ideas of blocking the views, for example, or how do you sort of like create some sort of privacy for the people inside. Let's say from the street, this blockage, semi-blockage of say plants and some railings that will block out the privacy of some, but at the same time sort of like have like a 50% view of what's going on inside. That's the main function of the ground floor. So there you have it. That was the some site responses or design responses. So before I got to this this current design, I went through a series of schematics drawings. So these are done in a very small scale of 1:300. I think I made some 3 iterations, so I'm on my 4th iteration of this structure design. I really had to go through this sort of process where you're not doing CAD. CAD is very accurate and very a tedious process to do, and if you don't have an idea of what you're going to be doing yet, you'll have big problems in using CAD as a design tool. So it's kind of slow process. So sketching helps out in terms of really just exploring all the parameters. For example, this is the first, so it's not perfect, but then at the same time you need to kind of draw in scale. So I was drawing this. I demonstrated this in another video, but probably you could have a look at the link here right now. I'm flashing it. You can see that process of this. But let me just show you that what I'm basically saying is that you have the looseness of sketching at the same time. Keep in mind in creating scaled drawings, but they're not perfect. So all my lines are not very straight, but they're just sketches. So during this process, this is like exploring ideas. So you can make mistakes. You can make all the mistakes that you need to make prior to doing a fine design. So like I'm putting X's on things that I do not like, or I think should not be there, or I made a mistake. So drawing with ink is also one of the things that I do. So I don't pencil. So I'm thinking and I'm recording like this is a good size for an alfresco or a dine out here. And then the cars or the car parkings are scaled, so I know for a fact that these are 2.5 by 5 meters parking here. There's a level of realism that is involved here in this process. At the same time, it's loose. So by the time that you sort of like, okay, this is sort of like that what I want, but I want to do some improvements on this. So you take another translucent paper. Translucent paper is very important, so you can see through what you've done so far and trace out the things that you want, or change the things, some of the parameters, and so you can make these iterations, a lot of iterations. So you make and analyze the mistakes that you've done, and then you improve on it. And then you come up with something that you're more confident and something that you like. Okay, so things like also to consider is like staircases should be realistic enough. So you have sort of like need to also go into sketching at the same time your section on what you have in mind for the ceiling heights and the floor heights. So I have my floor heights here, and then I sort of like jot down and annotate everything important to note. This also gives you an opportunity to have a look at this. So this is how the sun would be coming in from here with the existing tree, but not so much. Okay, so the tree is gonna block most of the sun, but there are snippets of light coming in. Natural light would somehow be here, and this creates this sort of like atmosphere that I have envisioned. You come into the cafe, and then you have this vision of a tree trunk with the shadows of leaves on the ground, and then there's natural air coming in also at the same time. Or maybe not. Maybe this is sort of like enclosed to protect from rain, but it's made of glass or something. Some of the rain would actually, well, I don't know how to exactly block out the rain entirely. We'll see that in future developments. So I'm implementing already some of the design responses. For example, the privacy views, like with the trees and the bushes, smaller plants. And then you can have your initial diagram for your front elevation here, based on just tracing over what you've done so far. So this is like the simplest method of having a look at your initial design with diagrams which are orthographic, multiple views. So you have a basic floor plan. I have the second floor somewhere here. So this is my initial second floor, just traced over here, but I haven't really configured at this point here what exactly is going to go happen. But I put in a bit of label. So I wasn't happy with this sort of form that I was creating here. So this is all the floor plans, and then you have a section which gives you the information for your heights and floor levels and how that's going to feel. So I put in even figures, human figures, to see scale, just to show that, you know, what's it gonna feel like. And of course, the floor plan with furniture will give an idea of the functions. Or these are also scaled, by the way. And so point of sales is here at this stage. So there's plenty of kitchen and or preparation area for serving this cafe. And then, of course, the elevation is there. So there's no perspective yet, perspective drawing of this or any 3D. But I am already thinking in 3D. So things like initial sketch of the exterior would be nice. I was pondering and I couldn't see what this is, so I sort of like made a diagram and thinking about this. So this is really not so technical here. It's just an exterior sketch, very quick one. So we go on to the current drawing that I have. So it's the fourth iteration. As you can see now, you have roughly about 5 parking spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So one is handicapped. So something that I didn't think about, but also would like to incorporate, or is the accessibility of the building. So when I go in, okay, so I wanted the door here at first, then I canceled it because if you have friends and you're outside, you could join in. So if you need to order something, come in. Maybe this door isn't ideal there, so I want to swing to the other way, and so I could probably X this now. So this is still in flux, meaning things can change. So if you feel that, you know, something is wrong, put an X on it. So this is not a complete drawing yet, but yet it's scaled. So I even put a scale bar, and you know, certain things like, okay, if there's so many people here, if the door is there, you're gonna have a bit of a problem there. So I wanted to push the door here, and then this is where your point of sale is, or where you order. Okay, so this is roughly about 3 meters, 3.5 meters. May not be enough, so menus would be there, pictures of the food that they serve would be there. This is probably air-conditioned area, okay, for people who like to have air conditioned. So there's a secondary door for fire exit for safety reasons. So if there is an emergency that you need to get out of the building, so there's just 2 point of this many exits that you may need if, let's say, a fire or earthquake happens. Then those are ideal design considerations for that. And yeah, so this is where the tree is. Okay, so there's going to be a grassland or gravel area here, but this would create a nice atmosphere for those who are sitting here. They have a good view of something natural that's happening there. And then we have the back of the area or service areas, like the preparation or kitchen, and then we have a small office for the manager, and then you have a gathering place for the staff. So a table would be there for their breaks, and they have their locker area and of course their own toilet. So the toilet here, for example, here for the public is yeah, it's pretty far away. So this sort of like tells me, if you have a wheelchair customer, it's kind of difficult for him or her to get into the toilet, even though I provided this to be a very wide and big toilet for handicapped. It's very far away. So that might be something that I want to change in the future, because I want this to work for the handicapped. I have a bigger table here. So think about Starbucks and how they're doing things in the cafe scene. So these are, for large number of people, probably I'd like to push this table more towards here, and like there's the residence access. Okay, it's the owner of the house. It has his own parking, and then service area would go through here also if there are food deliveries or ingredients that they may need for supplies and the like. So this might be wrong. This might need to change somehow. Instead of the private parking, it could be for the delivery truck parking instead, and I could push the parking for this car over here and give this as a free parking for deliveries. That could be a thing. So this is the back of the area also, by the way, that we need to provide. Like, say, these are where they're going to place in the gas tanks, right, and the like, and then air conditioned mechanical air conditioning machines will be placed somewhere here, away from so the noise of the condenser units, it's not going to be heard so much here. So this could be a nice ideal place. On the second floor is the residence. So the staircase here, the staircase volume has to be correctly done. So the number of steps need to be considered and counted. Here is the tree again. Okay, I don't exactly know where the branch is going to be, but this is initially the idea. So when you enter, you go up, and then you have this as your main area. You may have a door here if you want to, but yeah, if I have groceries, for example, you go to the kitchen, so the pantry area will be here. So if you just want to go and rest and go to the living room, and then dining area is here, you have a balcony area here on top, so it's just going to be here. It's going to be on top of this area here. So privacy could be also mitigated. I mean, could be enhanced with planters here. Meant for one bedroom only because it's very small. So there's the master's bedroom, closet area, and the toilet and bath area. So I haven't placed in any of that, but this is like bathtub. And then counter spaces would be like where the lavatory is, and the water closets could be here, and then you have a balcony area still. And then, so this is a more refined idea of what these sections should look like. I didn't put any measurements, but this is still scaled, and I always usually indicate where the property line is. You can see where the parameters are. So you can even see the setback. And normally it's about at least 2 meters. So all wall lines should be at least 2 meters away from the property line. So therefore here, for example, this is the firewall would be needed even higher than this, roughly about 1 meter away from this point. It should be damped. I again would like to always show the human figures being shown here. Like this is like, you can label these things like staff area, the point of sale, POS. You have your laundry, and then you have your living room somewhere right beyond here. And then of course this is the opening of the skylight, so with the tree inside. So you can see the activity here also. So this is our al fresco, but I want to place in, you can always place in like, oh, that's too very high. I meant to draw it like this, shorter, just above a person's height. Okay, so this is wrong. So again, this is in flux. If you create a mistake, you just place in an X, and if you're not happy with certain a lot of things, you can always place in a new sheet. So this is the initial exterior of what it's going to look like. I forgot to place in cars, so it's going to be here, there. So backside, it's going to be just show where the car parking is going to be. There's that balcony for the second floor, so a person's height would be here. So there's a bit of privacy. The ceiling, you can show, indicate all of these things like so. Basic plan, floor plans, basic floor plans. So this is plan on site, and then you have your second floor section, and of course one of the elevations. So it's a bit complete than what I had initially. So I had to go through this process every time I try to draw it out before you start doing it in CAD. Because if you don't have a good idea, or you have solved the solution, I mean you have solutions to the things that you want to happen, or to answer to the existing site parameters. Pretty hard to do all of this in CAD because you don't have an idea. So I mean, if I started doing this in CAD, would have difficulty in really changing very quickly things. So it takes a long time. So by just annotating and sketching over, these in freehand drawing and correcting quite easily, and then working with layers of paper, you can nail that design before doing it in 3D or in CAD. And this entire process took me so far 4 hours. From all of this accumulated diagrams, it took me about 2 hours to refining that idea with these drawings. It's still in scale, another 2 hours or so. And so if you do that, you try to do that in CAD, that will not be that short. Okay, and then plus there's going to be a restriction. Whatever you have, you can't change it. Sort of like well, the mentality in CAD is that you want to finish the drawing, whereas sketching or doing schematics, one line drawing without having to do the very thickness of without implementing yet the thicknesses of the walls or the design details of where the windows are supposed to be. It's going to take a longer time. So I estimate something like it'll take me 10 times the time that you need in order to create this entirely in CAD. So that's like encoding already. So CAD is great for accuracy, repetitiveness, and then the exactness is there. But here, what you're trying to solve is a good idea, a good design, thinking of new design ideas. So this gives you that opportunity. So I guess that's it for this video. I'm hoping that you learned something new on this example of a design. Hope to see you again in another video. Bye.